Athletes and bodybuilding fans around the world, welcome to another Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by these two titans of the sport and the Don of Style, Mr. Gucci himself, Real Deal Chris Cormier.
They not like us. They not like us. That's what's up.
You are what's up. And Tarek Gilgindi, hello, my friend.
Great. I do like that Gucci shirt. I like the fabric.
Appreciate you, man.
And the G's are the right shape today, so know it's real. We know it's
real.
Right.
I hope it's real.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
You can't be a real deal and a knockoff at the same time.
That's what I'm saying.
See, I have a good one every once in a while.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys, we were waiting for Nick Walker to appear. New York Pro rolls around. Everybody's calling it. And some people said Nick would win and some didn't. And there he was.
I said he was going to win. I said he was going to be second. And I was right once again.
It was a good battle.
It was a good battle. It was a good little fight, you know. But, you know, that's what the competition is. It's all what they exuded on that stage. It was like pandemonium, I would say. But Nick had the crowd going. I like how he was taking charge of that stage. He's like, "This is my house. This is my house." That's what he was saying.
That's what he was saying. You heard that as well? You were there?
I was there.
Did you see him say that?
Yeah, I did. You know, he brings tremendous energy to the stage. And I got to give credit to Chris. Chris picked, from the beginning, Nick Walker to win, unlike my other co-host. What's his name, Chris?
The voice?
The what?
Bob?
Who did he pick to win?
He had Quentin.
And then after prejudging, he had somebody else.
Then he had Fitzwater.
And after the show, he was all but hurt.
No, because he was taunting us in the audience. Oh, you see, I was right. And he would have laid it on us real thick if he was right. So we got to give him.
Could you imagine if he was right?
Oh my God.
He's already cocky, arrogant, and egocentric. He would have gone crazy.
Tapping us in the audience.
He would have said, "Here comes the voice of bodybuilding, Tim."
All right, brother. Yeah, there's only so much we can do here, bro. Come on. Cut me some slack. I'm just trying to do my thing.
Exactly what he said.
Guys, so Nick Walker comes along, and a few years ago, what was that first? Was it Houston, Texas Pro? What was that first win where he was just nothing but veins? He was the Mutant, and everybody went, "Who's this guy?" There was one of his first pro wins was just.
I think it was the New York Pro, right?
The
first New York Pro that he came in and really came out to the bodybuilding world as a tremendous competitor. You know, going back to Bob, listen,
You're not done with him, are you? You're not done.
No, I'm not done. But
let's go back to Bob.
Bob picked Martin Fitzwater to win the show, and it was a one-point decision. So, you know, we give a hard time to Bob, but you know, he's a lot. Not only him, but some other judges
bodybuilders like
voted for Martin Fitzwater.
Inches,
so if you picked Martin Fitzwater to win that show, you were not, you know, absolutely wrong, because a lot of people were with you, and Martin looked incredible.
We're going to talk about Martin coming up shortly, but he was incredibly balanced and incredibly conditioned.
Yes. The Nick Walker has a factor that's very, very hard to beat. He's got two of the criterias in bodybuilding that you need in order to be a great champion. He doesn't have the third one. He doesn't have the lines. He's not Samson Dauda. He's never going to be Samson Dauda or some of these guys with aesthetically pleasing lines. But he's got a ton of mass and a ton of conditioning. Okay? And in bodybuilding, you don't need to have all three criteria to win. Samson Dauda won the Arnold Classic with beautiful lines and size. He didn't have the conditioning. So when people go, well, Nick Walker doesn't have the most pleasing lines. Well, Dorian Yates was not as aesthetically pleasing as Flex Wheeler. And he won the Olympia 6 times. So you can win a basketball game by not scoring 1 3-point, just by playing inside. Or you can win a basketball game just like the Golden State Warriors by shooting 3 points all day long. It's how you win, and I give tremendous credit to Nick Walker. He brought the size and the conditioning.
And when it came down to it, Tarek, he brought the posing. He was nailing his poses. I was on the left side. It wasn't the best side to see the show. You had to be dead on in the center where the judges were, and that's where you're going to get the tale of two takes there. You have, like, say, Fitzwater, at certain areas of the room, he may look like he's right there. In the middle, when I saw it, I even gave him the side tricep shot, but beyond further review, I was in the middle with the shot I saw, on the internet, and I would have gave it, to Nick.
Well, I'm going to ask you both this because this is a big thing for any competitor. Your improvements year over year. And 3 or 4 years ago, when he was really starting to make a splash, guys were breaking his chops. He's the brick. He was blocky. He was blocky and had a little bit of the gut going. And he has just dialed that down. And he's got a V-taper from the front now, not just the back.
And also, a lot of people was giving him a lot of flack online about him letting his stomach go at the guest posing. But what did I say? I said, when it comes to that show, he's going to be dialed in mentally and physically, and he's not going to do that at the New York Pro, and he did not do that.
How does he change the lineup at the Olympia? Last year, when Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan hit a few poses, they were more massively dense than Samson Dauda, Brandon Curry, and Andrew Jacked. Especially on some of these side shots, they're shorter guys. They kind of exposed Andrew Jacked and Samson, and Brandon was not at his best. This guy is now going to that lineup. And what's going to happen is when Steve Weinberger calls a side chest and side triceps, we are no longer going to look at Derek and Hadi and going, wow, they're a lot more massively dense than everybody. There's going to be a guy more dense than them, and his name is Nick Walker. Whether you like it or not, on those side poses, Nick Walker is going to overpower everybody.
So now let's go front to back. So you're talking about how he could shake up the lineup. Back double bicep, which was Derek's the last 2 years in a row. Does he shake that up and get it between him and Hadi?
Well, the back double biceps is Derek's shot. Unless he had a few pieces of lat removed, we're all speculating here, but that's his shot. It's hard to beat that guy. Even when Hadi is 100%, the back double biceps is going to be his shot. Do I think Nick Walker is one of those guys that can, oh man, Nick is close to Derek? Yes, he could beat him, but as we've seen in the past, Derek could win that shot easily based on what we saw. The back lat spread, it's almost as close. Nick Walker, you got, Hadi and Derek. So that could be close in the mix based on what we have seen in the past. Samson Dauda needs to improve his back lat spread and his back double biceps, and he's doing. Nick Walker changes the lineup.
So let's look at this then. It's a great example, like a third-party candidate running for an office. You got the left, you got the right, and you got the guy over here from the Nick Walker party. And if this guy's getting 45% of the vote and 45%, and then Nick Walker comes along and he's taking a pose from this guy and taking a pose from this guy, that shakes out which of these two top guys is going to have enough votes on the other side. That could lean towards Hadi, it could lean heavier towards Derek. If Nick is stealing poses from guys like that, side chest has been dominantly Hadi. Across the clavicle, across the density of the pec, it's been Hadi's pose.
Yes, but Nick is going to win it this year.
So that takes some points away.
And also the front double bicep, Nick is going to be right there to either win it or be top 2. But I think, out of the first 3 poses, Nick have a good chance to win 2 of those.
Nick Walker posing next to Samson Dauda, even though Samson might not be conditioned as Nick, he benefits Samson because he overemphasizes Samson Dauda's beautiful lines. Nick Walker posing between Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan, he takes away that dense image that we have of those two shorter guys against Samson Dauda, Andrew Jacked. All of a sudden, you're looking at Hadi, you're looking at Derek. They're no longer the most massively dense guys on those side poses. All of a sudden, it's this guy Nick Walker. So it changes the lineup. Like Tim said, he's taking away poses that possibly Derek and Hadi were winning. Now Derek and Hadi might be second on that pose.
Well, I love, we're going to see, now that he's qualified for the Olympia, I'm going to love to see Big Steve with maybe 4 guys out there at the end, interchanging guys left and right and center, beating them up pose after pose, trying to see who's going to end up that top guy.
Man, I'm telling you, we're all speculating here based on what happened in the past. But when, as Sean Ray would say, when rubber meets the road, it's going to be real, real competitive, this Olympia.
It will be, and of course, a guy that already qualified but was battling with Nick at the New York Pro, Martin Fitzwater is there. We'll see what extra size he can bring to that amazing balance and conditioning. We're going to talk about that when we come back on Primetime Muscle. All right, guys, a few weeks ago, I was in St. Louis at the St. Louis Pro, the NPC Midwest for Jack Tatone, Jack and Ann, and we had Brett Wilkin guest posing, absolutely massive. Fitzwater was there off his win, and I didn't know these two have collabed. They are now, as we've got up here on the big screen, Brothers of Iron.
Living in Florida. They wanted to get back together as a team.
I think Texas.
Florida. Florida, buddy.
Are they in Florida?
Florida, buddy. Florida, Gators.
Oh, wow. I thought they were in St. Louis. I thought that was why it was a home game for them. They just popped over and said, hey.
No, I mean,
it was planned. It was a planned visit.
On the competitors list at the New York Pro, it said Martin Fitzwater from McKinley, Texas.
He is from Texas. It's like I am from Palm Springs.
Like Ali Bilal, who said Afghanistan,
I am from
but he's
Palm
living
Springs,
in
but now
well,
residing
Brazil.
The bottom line is this. I saw Brett Wilkin going on stage, and it looked like he ate a bison. He looks massive, huge, humongous. I did a live with Martin Fitzwater, and he said, I asked him, are you being cautious with all this hardcore lifting? And he looked at the camera and he said, what does that even mean? That's how hardcore these guys are.
Well, and Brett did look full bison, I got to say. But not bison water buffalo guest poser like, is this guy ever going to make weight and see his waist again? He looked like that year off that he'd taken to start the family and change his life. He looked like he'd put on the previous year's weight and the next year's weight in a quality fashion. He was balanced. He looked really good.
Yes, they're both training so hard together, and Martin said that it was the hardest training prep he ever did for a show in his life, and that's how it's got to be. You know, it's not a whole lot of lifting weights, talking to the camera, getting up, posing for the camera. It's like you should train so hard that you're not even able to do that. That's what hard training is.
Now, I read somewhere that hard training includes at least posting something in between each set.
In between each set with the
tripod and the
yeah. You got to fix. Oh, not the right angle. I got to go back over. All that stuff, guys, is taken away from your workout. And I'm telling you, if you're able to do that, you're not working hard enough.
So we've got Texas, we've got Tampa, we've got a few of the big shows, we've got Chicago. Where do you think Brett goes on to qualify so that he and Martin can get up there and share the big stage?
He said somewhere in the summer. I asked him at the New York show. He said somewhere in the summer. He didn't want to give it. He said the next 2 weeks he's going to know for sure, and I'll get back to you on that. Go ahead, buddy.
I have a feeling that a lot of guys are waiting for the final moment to get their qualification. And we might not have some of the big names there. I mean, we got Brett Wilkin, who qualified for the Olympia but couldn't do. Akeem Williams. You got that guy Gudavito. Where's Hunter coming in? Hunter has to come in somewhere, right? So I don't know where Brett Wilkin is competing, but I hope he picks a show and makes it, because he's qualified for the Olympia last year and he didn't. And now he's going to have to face, you got to look at Carlos Thomas Jr., Hunter Labrada, Andrew Jacked.
Oh.
Andy Jacks, Texas Pro.
I mean, Hunter does Texas Pro too.
That's a home game for him.
But he's also going to Italy, though, right?
So
going overseas.
There's gonna be a lot of guys. You know, is Michael Crezo qualified? We don't know. Tonio Burton.
Did he win the Cal, or what was that?
Tonio Burton won the Cal, so we gotta look at Tonio Burton already in. Beef Stew. Beef Stew. He would love to go. What about Beruz Tabani?
Oh yeah,
you know,
last
that
year
guy,
he was a mind blower.
That guy has qualified for the
Dubai.
Olympia.
He'll be
Correct.
in Dubai.
Yeah. So there's some names there. I mean, I would hate to see Brett Wilkin not make to the Olympia. I think he's gonna make it, but I have a feeling, you know, the Olympia is coming up. We're just a few months away. And
Nathan Diasha.
There's a lot of names and not enough shows.
Beef Stew, if you or your trainer are listening, I've gotten judges' feedback on how you can get to the Olympia, and it includes a haircut.
Don't say it.
Haircut.
Don't say it.
Haircut. That fro has got to go.
No, you
That
are
mop,
so
your persona.
wrong.
The mop on top has
You
got
are
to
It's
go.
your persona.
You are so wrong.
Okay, persona or not, fellas, here's my fear.
He walked the line.
Here's my fear, and I don't usually take a stand like this. When C-Bum became a thing,
stand.
every guy across the country's now got the C-Bum 78 porn stash.
But let me
the
tell
last
you.
thing we need is 2,000 beef stews running around.
Even with the
I love his physique, but I can't have this at every show.
Okay, but even then, years ago, when he came to the weigh-ins, you got C-Bum there. He had a full beard. He was just about to go shave it all off. And we was like, no, at least you leave the stash. You don't want to have just a plain face up there. And he made that decision just to do that. And that from that point on, everyone made a big deal out of the porn stash, and then he kept it, and that became his trademark.
Who was promoting that show? Ron Jeremy? How did that happen?
That was Olympia.
Okay.
That was Olympia, and I was in the weigh-ins, and J.M. Mannion and I were standing side by side. You're going to ask him, because I'm sure he'll tell you. And that's when he was like, because he was about to just shave it off.
I think you're so wrong, Tim Wilkins. So wrong, okay? What do we have in bodybuilding? Bald guys. That's all we have in bodybuilding, a bunch of bald guys. We're living a generation where we have guys with hair. Let's explore it. There was a time in bodybuilding you had Chris Cormier, he was bald.
No, I had
Flex
braids.
Miller was bald.
I had braids,
all
baby.
All these guys were
healthy,
bald. A bunch of bald guys going to the Olympia.
A healthy black stallion.
You know, when Jay Cutler in 2009 came, Jay Cutler came with that new hairstyle. Everybody loved it. He became the logo for his Cutler Athletics. So I'm a big fan of your hair, Beef Stew. We're sick and tired of a bunch of bald guys. Martin Fitzwater, grow your hair. Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupin, keep your hair. Samson Dowda, try to grow some hair. Okay, we need personalities. We need personalities in bodybuilding. We can't have everybody bald, you know, in a
How about this,
posing
Beef?
trunk.
Braid your hair, Beef. Braid the hair.
There we go. You can take
Let's
a cruise
see
to the
you braid it.
Bahamas, get off in Freeport or Nassau, spend the $9 for little Jimmy to do your hair.
Come on, Stu.
Put some Cheerios in there. Guys, circling back to our topic, these two guys, you know, think back to the days. Which guys can you think of throughout the last 20, 30 years?
Me and Flex Wheeler.
Flex. So, you know,
Brothers in iron, want to beat each other, want to take each other's head off when we go on stage. But it's a lot of love, it's a lot of respect backstage. We always gave each other a pound before we went onto the stage. Whether we were having beef or not, we always did this.
It's got to be a benefit just to have that guy in there with that intensity and just, you know, those handoffs we used to do back in the day. You know, I don't have that.
You go, I go. You go, I go.
You quit, I go to show
right.
you. You know, my old training partner, how much did you do? Oh, I'm doing 10 pounds more. That's the head you get in. That's awesome.
I think they become better because first, you know, I'm big on safety. So if you have a big guy right there, you know, backing you up, spotting you.
There is no safety.
You know, so
There is no safety because here's the thing: if something's gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong. A lot of times when you're doing squats, you can only help so much. If those legs go out, it's not a whole lot you could do with 500 pounds on your biceps. You're probably gonna hurt you both. It's not much you can do if you got dumbbells and you're trying to push these heavy dumbbells, and they push a lot of heavy weight, these guys. So I don't think no one's playing it safe. I don't think they're not safe. I think they're gonna be reckless abandoned in their lifts because they're gonna go out like warriors, I think. And I think for the most part.
I completely disagree with you.
Yeah, because you haven't trained like that before.
I completely disagree with you.
You haven't trained like that intense before.
That is the dumbest advice.
It's a reality. What do you mean?
Give somebody.
It's a reality.
I'm gonna give you a very simple.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said it himself. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of fainting in the gym. He's done it many times.
Let me finish.
He's done it many times.
Let me finish. Okay. Okay. If you're squatting 1,000 pounds and there's nobody in the gym and your legs fail and that collapses on you,
you can't do anything
you're
about
not going to be happy after 3 hours when somebody comes to the gym. If you're squatting 1,000 pounds and you have 2 guys on each side and one guy spotting you behind and your legs fail, you can prevent something worse from happening.
But realistically, you're pushing each other.
You cannot.
I get those 120-pound dumbbells up on my knees. I'm looking for a Lorelia Chapados or a Jessica Reyes Padilla. But they say, oh, but I'm not strong enough. Yeah, but I'm going to be 20 pounds stronger with you standing back there than I am with Brett. You know, exactly. I don't want to impress Brett Wilkin.
That's another great point, Tim. You're doing your dumbbells and you're failing and your workout partner goes, just one more. And he kind of holds it on a little bit, gives you a little bit of help, but you get that less negative coming down. That makes you better. That was the dumbest advice you've ever given.
It's not about advice. You never trained like that in your damn life. That's why.
That was the dumbest advice.
Anybody who's been there,
it looks like you've never lifted weights.
Write in the comments and let this fool know that he's never even made it on stage before.
You've ever said since you were born in Palmdale.
I'm going to bring this. I'm going to bring this full circle.
You tell me how many people have crashed and burned with dumbbells. Or with a heavy squat. Like, you can't do anything about it.
So as a trainer, you're a trainer.
I haven't never had anyone hurt.
You're a trainer.
Yeah.
You're telling me when you train
They're not trainers, they're training partners.
Hold on.
They're brothers in iron.
When you're training Breon Ansley, you're not only teaching him the proper technique, we're also teaching him the path to be safe and not to injure himself.
I'm a master, though.
Well,
these guys are 20-some years old. They're not masters.
There are 2 guys that are pushing, but they're not pushing each other. They are pushing to get back to the Olympia stage, and they are some big ones. If you remember a couple years ago when Michael Crezo debuted, he was massive.
So let me show you how to do an arm bar.
Well, we'll show them how to do an arm bar when
Folks,
we come back.
Don't listen to this dumb thing he
just
said.
It's not a safe.
Dumb, and dumb.
Someone has done it before.
Dumb. And we'll be safe out there.
We'll be right back.
Safe. Be safe.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
All right, we're back. There are a couple guys that have been kind of lurking in the shadows, working their way up. One debuted a couple years ago, Michael Crezo. And I can't say enough, one of my joys the last 25 years at the Olympia has been the press conference. And guys are more hesitant now. You got guys like Brandon Curry who comes out like a boss in a nice suit. You know, he's got the empty suitcase that's known as
yellow bag
Louis Vuitton bag, maybe waiting to fill it with cash.
Maybe wait.
it seems empty, and he's going to put stuff in it. And you got other guys like Michael Crezo last year or 2 years ago that had no problem taking that shirt off and showing everybody an audible gasp when his shirt came off. He is a mountain.
Well, when he came from the other organization, there was a lot of hype. In the first year, he placed 12th at the Olympia. But this last year, 2023, this guy placed 7th at the Olympia. He is on the rise. His conditioning was better. what can you say about his arms? I think the coolest thing about Michael Crezo is not only he's got this massive physique, but he's got a small head, man.
Tiny head.
He's got a tiny head, which makes his body look even bigger. Massive, massive. I think he's on the rise. I think we're not talking enough about him. We need to talk more about Michael Crezo. He placed 12th. He's now 7th. His conditioning was a lot better. This guy could show up on the first call out. Nobody's talking about him. Talk to me, Chris. Talk to me about Michael Crezo. You saw him in Poland.
Yes, I went to Prague, and
That's Czech Republic. Sorry, guys.
I saw. It's all right. I saw him in Prague. I told him he was vastly improved. He said thank you. I think he's working on his English a little bit.
A lot.
A lot. And I mean, I don't think anyone have a more impressive arm when it comes to that crab shot to the front. I remember it jumped out at me at the press conference, like you said, and
I was sitting next to you.
it's been nothing but improving since then. He still can use some more back development. He still can get some more glute development, for that matter, and hamstrings. It's just his backside needs to be just like the front side, but you can't deny the fact that he's very powerful and very, very, very well on his way up in the standings.
Well, and Chris, another guy that came in with a lot of hype. The internet, that's the cool thing about the internet now. We got guys from all over the world, and they get hyped from other leagues. Vitaly Gotovito.
Yes, I had a chance to, I remember sending him a message. He was in Russia saying, listen, there might be some Brazilian companies interested in you. And this guy has gone to Brazil. He's found a wife. Now he has a kid born in Brazil. And he's been in Brazil. His Portuguese is perfect, man.
In 2 years.
He speaks better Portuguese than 90% of the Brazilians. But there's one thing that I love about him, which you guys have heard me talk about. He's got the largest clavicle bones in today's bodybuilding. His clavicle bones are 10 times larger than any man's sartorius muscle. And he's not a Leo. Can you believe that?
But Walker is.
He's got the largest clavicle bone. So that's a huge advantage in bodybuilding. Does he have a small waist? No, he doesn't. At the Detroit Pro, we saw a great conditioned bodybuilder. He doesn't have the smallest waist, but he's got the largest clavicle. If he fills up, we're talking about a buffalo on stage.
Well, let's look at these two massive bodies, because these guys, if anything now, they are bringing some mass.
Well, if Gotovito's a buffalo, then Crezo's a buffalo soldier. Because Crezo has this powerful punch.
Can you get down one step so we don't hear the creaking?
How much is don't worry about it?
Yeah, just so
How
we don't mess up with the sound.
How about can I get back to work?
They've been telling you for 3 years that.
Bro.
So
we got to do this?
So let's talk about these delts too, Chris, and these arms.
Crezo is improving his body. He's improving his quads. I saw him at the Prague show. And I think he's going to pick a show in Europe, possibly Italy or something like that. I think that's where he's going to make his run for the Olympia qualification. Gotovito, very impressive. I thought I had him winning the Chicago Pro.
That would be the Detroit Pro.
Detroit Pro, you know what I meant. The Detroit Pro. I had him winning in the prejudging. Coming into the night show, I think he slipped a little bit. Maybe he relaxed too much. Maybe he thought he had it in the bag. Maybe he had 2 burgers or something like that. Who knows? But it's a little bit softer in the night show, and that's where Martin Fitzwater tightened up and got the title.
Yeah, you caught that right with the Fitzgerald.
That was a dig at my guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry. That was just a little dig.
I actually wrote on the Olympia TV a video about Martin Fitzwater, I actually wrote Fitzgerald.
JM grabbed me at the St. Louis Pro and said, just tell Tarek it's Fitzwater, just for the next show.
And I went to talk to Martin, and he goes, man, he was a good wide receiver, so I take some credit, Martin Fitzwater.
Well, Vitaly Goodvito, are you guys talking about, that does look like a small waist with some massive arms.
Well, here's the deal, Tim. It does look like a small waist because his clavicle bones are incredibly wide. This is being 6'10" in the NBA, okay?
But he does have a nice sartorius.
He's got the sartorius muscle and the large clavicle bones. Hence, he might be my favorite and Chris
my
Cormier's
favorite
bodybuilder. If you have the large clavicle bones,
if we had a kid together, this is what it would look like.
yes, Shaq. If Shaq and Charles Barkley had a kid, it would look like Zion Williamson. If Chris and I had a baby, it would look like this guy.
Hey,
He's got the sartorius
he's got the big
muscle,
feet, size 15 feet.
large clavicle bones. Look
Big,
at that
wide
beard.
body.
He shaves in the morning and it's full grown at night, just like me.
A baby named Leo, that's all we need.
Let's call him Leo.
He is incredible. Look at the vacuum. I think we're not talking about these guys enough. That guy is 7th best in the world.
And young.
And this guy put on a show in Brazil and Detroit. I'm telling you, Hunter Labrada, Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, all of you guys. Neckzilla. All of you guys, watch out for these two guys. One is from Czech Republic, and the other one is from Russia.
Well, think about that top 10 last year and who he was battling against to get from 12th to 7th. You did have Ian Valliere, you had Hunter Labrada, Andrew Jack. You had some stacked guys up there at the top.
He retired already. But anyway.
No, he did. He did. So he's got a chance to move up a little bit.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But last year it was a speed bump.
And I do like Crezo's head. I think he shrunk his head a little bit. What do you think?
Dude, I'm telling you.
I think he shrunk it a little
The
bit.
first Olympia, when he came to check-ins, I look at his arm, and we often joke, his arm is bigger than his head. He might be the first human being where his arms are actually bigger than his head. And you look at him and you go, man, you should be in Game of Thrones. Like you're losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, that could be a normal sized head, but sitting on those traps are up 6 inches in that crab. That most muscular, it's just perched up there.
I would put that crab against anybody in the world for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody can get it with this guy.
Well, guys, you are right, Tarek. I think we're not talking about these guys enough, so I'm glad we had a chance to highlight them. And it is going to be interesting to see if and where they each qualify. And then that 5th through 10th, 11th position just gets crazy at this year's Olympia.
Crazy.
I think if Goodovito qualifies for the Olympia, I think both of them might be in the top 10.
Oh.
Well, the thing is, if he does qualify, I don't know how his physique is going to handle. I mean, he's 26 years old. He's very young in the sport. And it'll be a tall order, but, if he can get there, that'll be a feather in his cap.
Well, as always, guys, share with us your thoughts on these two guys, Nick Walker making that Olympia qualification, where you think he's going to shake things up, and the new brothers in iron, Brett Wilkin and Martin Fitzwater. Where do you think Brett's going to qualify, and where are they going to end up this year? All that, like, share, comment. Guys, man, flies by.
Oh, man, just like that.
Chris Cormier, the real deal, Gucci'd
Real
out.
deal.
Gucci'd out. If we had a son, it would be like this guy. Sartorius muscle and large clavicle bones. We're in love, right, Chris?
That's
right.
right. Gindi, this is the stuff of nightmares.
All fair play.
I'm Tim Wilkins for these two great guys from Primetime Muscle. We'll see you next time.